Good morning, students. Welcome back to our class, Innovation Management. Today, we are going to start the topic that is R&D and its settings of R&D and budgeting. So, what do we mean by that? We'll learn one by one. So, here, uh, yeah. So, how we are going to set? So, setting our budgets in different form. First one, before going to set our budget, we have to understand the market, how the market is there of our product, and how we have to adjust our or set our R&D budget. See, R&D is an exercise in fully understanding the marketplace in which one competent or it is used to create a budget. One first need to know where the markets are going. Generally speaking, the 5-year views look back over 3 years and focuses intently on where markets are going over the next 2 years. See, overall, nowadays, what is happening? We have to see what is going on in the market. We have to take how the 3 years back the market values was there and how the market was running, and upcoming within 2 years what are the things or new features or strategies or tactics are coming into the market. We have to make a big picture. So this analysis will help us understand and helping the core technologies of the marketplace and where the technology is impacting. So it will take place. Second one is you have to go for the defining your strategic goals. What are the strategic goals are there? So it is the main thing is that mission statement should be there. It's in consist of 5 years. Every form before starting the product, I mean before launching the product into the market, they will make the mission statement. It consists of 5-year plan, and it is the stage where the strategy will be extended for the organization's capability. Now this strategies helps to inform other parts of the business where one is and where one want to go and how one want to get there. That means from one position to another position, how it is going to be. So this will help us to identify the specific strategic goal of the research and development. And third one is know your capabilities. What is your capability of your product or of your organization? So what is happening here? To create an efficient budget plan, one must understand the company's ability and resources. What are the resources we are having? What are the abilities we are having? We have to understand that. Depending on that, we have to start the plan. That means how we can allocate the resources, what is there within our hands, and we have to underestimation can be lead to an efficient use of resources. There should not be an underestimation. That means we need a motivation over there, and we have to come up with the successful completion of the projects, meeting revenue and profit targets. What are the targets we are having? Some business performs annual audits of their R&D capabilities to accomplish this and assist in the budgeting process. So this review reveals shortcoming in capability or that is not possible to utilize the existing resource efficiently. Then outsourcing the R&D may be an alternative resourcing option. So whatever the options we are having, we have to go for it. That means after knowing our capabilities only, we can jump into the market and we can allocate what are the resources do we have, how we have to allocate it. So depending on this, our capabilities, the R&D budget will also utilize. Now, next one is include partnerships. That means either we should have to include our partnership. If we are including, what sort of terms will be taken place, like integration, the legal, technical, IP ownerships, completion of the alliances, collaborations, or partnership easily can compute an otherwise controllable budget plan. That means if you are having very less budget, we need more budget. So if you want to allocate with another company or with another organization, then there should be legal terms should be there. That means when we are including the partners, we will get the budget, and depending on that budget, we can run our business. Or else, when we are merging with another person, that we are having some budget, and he is an advertising company. If you want to become the partner, so our company can get free of cost of advertisement with his partnership. So we have to go for all these tactics and strategies before running to the plan. Now, next one is plan for contingencies. What are the contingencies will be there, or what are the goods will be there? Depending on that, we have to first make the budgets always an estimation of cost based on the experience and guesswork. What are the goods are in need in futures? Based on the guesswork, some budget will be allocated with the help of estimation of cost. So this will help us to identify it. Another one, objectivity to submit a realistic budget. It is the prudent to include a contingency fund which is generally based upon historic norms. Depending on these experiences, contingencies can sometimes be as much as 20% of an overall R&D budget. That means it is an assumption. That means we are keeping some 20% of budget overall in our future for taking the realistic budget. So there should be planning before acting. Next one is bringing in the experts. That means when we are utilizing R&D budget, we should have to bring some experts in our organizations so that with the help of their experience and with the help of their information, we can create a database of the budget for information capabilities, resources, models, personnel, experts, what it may be. All these things will be help to us. This provides managers the ability to continuously fine tune the budget as it goes through subsequent iterations. Not only that, do not forget to bring in the staff that will involve in the project to get the final details of what will be involved and required. That means a number of expert people are needed for our company organizations. That means the staff should be well organized and experienced for taking the final decisions. So this will help us in setting the budget. Next one is considering the source of funding. Whatever the sources we are having, we have to funding sources of funding will be there. We have to consider that. How? See, as companies grow and evolve over time or change their planning process to the provider of funds for an research and development project can change. So what will happen? Sometimes the process may be to create or take advantage of new technologies, or other times it may be to support individual business unit, the next generation products to help win increase market share. The changes can take time, but the way the structure of budgeting process form can alter. That means whatever the source of funding we are having, we can change it. We can consider it for a time being, and after seeing the future actions, we can consider that and we can change it. Then, or else we can go for the alteration. Alternate process can take place. It is rare that the strategic goals remain the same to these changes. Whatever the changes we are making, rarely it will be same for some conditions, but many times the strategic goals will be changed depending on the condition and situation of the market. Now, next one is make sure your model fits your needs. Whatever the models we are making for our R&D department, it should have to fit for our needs. What are the basic needs of the company? And another one, see on the screen, you may have seen that. If you read that, you can come for one example is that one way to split the budget into three categories. That means people's, facilities, and equipments. How are our employees? What are the facilities are needed? What are the equipments or tools are needed for it? And coming to the peoples, what sort of peoples? Skilled laborers, unskilled labor, professionals, unprofessionals, competitors for advertisement, or in the marketing, finance, HR, IT, everything peoples are will be divided. What are the facilities are needed? What are the sources? New technologies are needed. What are the equipments are needed? What are the tools are needed? And what are the place, land, building, capital, machine, man? All these things will be utilized. Or it may fit for the needs better to split along fixed people cost, project cost, and variable cost. So what will happen when we are fit the needs for better split along with fixed people or cost, variable cost, project cost will be reduced. Whichever way one do it, one should make sure it suits the business and not try to squeeze it into another organization model. Next one is another one final point I want to tell you that one should not offset an R&D expenditure against marketing and product launch. This must instead offset against projected sales and overall company budgets. So what is happening here? Whatever the marketing product will be there, the R&D department will offset it and they will make the expenditures against the company projects. Now, here some are the approaches of the setting of R&D budget, like in-term firm comparisons, fixed relationship to the turnover, fixed relationship to profit, references to previous levels of expenditure, costing of an agreed program, internal relationship between customers and contractor. All these are the approaches where the settings of the budget for R&D is taking place. Here, if you see the diagram on the screen, you can able to understand how the evaluation will take place, R&D budget allocation will take place, and how the budget appropriation is taking place, and what is the result of it during the help of the year ending, starting of the year to the ending of the year. So next, here is also how the research will take place, what the knowledge we should have, what we have to analyze, what the data, the information we have to collect. After collecting the data, what are the facts are there? we have to collect, and we have to go for the practice. Then we have to go for the testing. The 100% results are coming or not. Then development will be there. When we are having the development, then we have to go for the support. So all these things are analyzes. This is called the research and the development. Research is this much and the development is there, and this R&D is supporting for the budget, setting of the budget. Now, levels of expenditures. What are the levels of expenditure? See what is happening. R&D covers three activities. One is the basics research, applied research, and experimental development. The main aggregated use for international comparison is gross domestic expenditure on R&D. Gross domestic expenditure on R&D, that is nothing but GERD, GERD. Another thing, research and development expenses are associated directly with the research and development of a company, goods or services, and any intellectual uh, property generated in the process. A company generally incurs R&D expenses in the process of finding and creating new products or services. See what is happening? R&D expenses are associated directly with the research and development of a company's goods and service. Depending on the goods and service of the organization, the expenditures will be taking place, and company incurs R&D expense in the process of finding and creating new products. If we are finding any new products or services, depending on that also we are going to utilize our expenditures. So these are the levels of organization. That means when the peoples are there, basic research, applied research, and experimental research on goods and services. Now if you see here, in the international brand, how much USA is using, I mean budgeting in R&D department for its business. This one is China. In dollars, it is in dollars. Then Japan, Germany, South Korea, France, India, UK, Brazil, Russia, Italy, Canada. So these are the countries with the budget, how they are utilizing for R&D department totally. So it's very important for us. We have to understand. If you see on the screen on the right side that USA dollar 476.5 billion. All the amount is in billion. Now changing the nature of R&D management. How the changes will takes place. Technology explosion will be there. Shortening of the technology cycle. Globalization of the technology. Technology explosion, how it takes place by seeing the changes in the technology, and shortening of the technology cycle by seeing the demand in the market. The peoples will shorten the technology. How much technology is in need for this concerned product or for this concerned goods or service. Depend on it, they will go for the short term. Nowadays, they don't want to give more expenditure on IT also, because the social media has came and it is doing free of cost work to everyone. Now, nature of R&D management. The R&D management has changed during these years. During the first generation of R&D, from 1950 to mid 1960, most of the new products that were produced were also sold. New industries emerged, and technology was also generally seen as the remedy of all alignment. See, in the first generation, what happened? The R&D department, they used to sell new goods and as well as also old products, whatever maybe they are having. But at the same time, in the 1950 to mid 1960, what happened? New industries were came, and technology was also generally started. And the first generation of R&D work under the assumption that the more R&D went in, the more products came out. When the first generation of the R&D is when R&D is needed. When the R&D is needed, that means when they are using the R&D, the more products will come out. That's the reason we are saying here that for the first generation it comes out of the more assumptions. When you are taking the R&D, then the assumption was more. Next, during the second generation of R&D, from mid 1960 to early 1970s, the supply and the demand were in more stable relationship. Competition was intensified, and more emphasis was placed on marketing efforts to increase the sales volume. So what's happening from mid 1960 to 1917? Again, it's a period of 15 years. In this, what happened? The supply and demand of the product relationship was huge, and competition was intensified, and more emphasis was placed on marketing efforts to increase the sales volume. What happened in this? The marketing started during these days for sales volume. Within this environment, more focus was placed on short-term demand side, neglecting long-term research in favor of ideas from the market. So what happened on those days? They were searching on the short-term demand, not for the long-term demand. So by seeing the favor of ideas in the market. So these are the strategies. Now coming to the third generation, it started from 1970 to mid 1980s when the economy was shivering with high rates of inflation and demand saturations. There was a during this time period in India, what happened? Not only in India, in the world also, in some parts of countries of the world, the inflation was shivering. That means the high rates was came down, the demand saturation was there, cost control and cost reduction became the name of the game. So the leading R&D to eliminate the wasteful efforts by reviewing and improving the way new technology was developed and monitoring the company. See what happened on those days in that third generation. So the inflation was there in the country and the demand got saturated. So what happened? They want to remove the waste expenditures on the product. So the efforts were made. The name of the game was reducing, minimizing the cost and maximizing the profit. That means cost control and cost reduction was the main game of every company and organization for leading the R&D. So here R&D, research and development, lead to eliminate wasteful efforts by removing or improving the new way technology. So what happened on those days? With the help of R&D, the new technology came which were reducing the uh, reduction of the costs which are not useful for us. So it identified, it had done the research, and when on the product, when the cost reduction was taking place, automatically the price of the cost got reduced and it was a demand uh, in the market. Yeah. Now coming to the fourth generation, it was started from 1980s to mid 1990s when the economic recovered and business people rethought their diversification strategies in favor of returning to their core business, all under a time-based completions paradigm given by Japan and companies like Toyota, Sony, and Honda. So what happened in the fourth generation? It started in 1980s to 1990s mid. Overall, the automotive industry was heavily benchmarked and functioned as a role model for many. Like the countries like Japan and the companies who are there with tying with the Japan country like Toyota, Sony, Honda, they started the business once again and they were targeting to the market in the favor of returning their core business once again to come back from their inflations. So on those days, like Suzuki, Samurai, no problem. These were the examples over there, and the R&D departments had done the research on it, and they were working on it. And coming to the fifth generation, the fifth generation of R&D broadens the boundaries for companies' R&D activities, all in the light of increased global competition. So rapidly, it started from mid of 1990 and is going on, and hence all the increased global competition, rapid technology change, and the need for sharing heavy technology investments. So what is happening? They were focusing on the heavy technology investments. R&D needs to interact with the business environment like competitors, distributors, customers, suppliers, etc., placing more emphasis on the ability to coordinate and integrate systems from different parties. What are the different parties they are having? They are connecting with all those things. Now coming to the sixth generation also started from 2005 onwards. 2005 to 2008, I mean it's going on still. It started in those time period, 2005 to 2008 time period, and still is going on. So what the sixth generation of R&D is doing, it is expected to refocus the research part and to enlarge and enhance the capabilities by connecting to loosely tied multi-technology research networks. There will be a broader multi-technology base for high tech products and a more distributed technology sourcing structure. So what is happening here? The available technology sourcing strategies will be corporate research labs, internal corporate venturing, technology company acquisitions, intellectual property acquisitions, corporate venture capital, joint ventures, independent research groups for our networks, and internally driven R&D research and development. So all these things what they are focusing only nowadays. The strategies, that means technology sourcing strategies, will be corporate research labs. What are the research labs? What is the product? And they are testing first, and they are going for the corporate venturing, joint ventures, corporate venture capital, acquisition, property. All these things were taking place. So now coming to the next thing, that is how the organization industries industrial R&D. Industrial R&D is divided into two parts. One is the internal, another is the external. Coming to the internal R&D, we are having centralized laboratories, decentralized laboratories in internal market. See what is happening when the laboratories, when the a product is going for the test in the central lab, it has having the power when it can go from top bottom to every height bottom, and in this the centralized laboratories, the product will be taking place in such a way that it will focus on the starting of the product from the raw material to the it still is going into the hands of the consumer. What are the process will be there, and what are the research, what are the effects and defects will be there, it will be finalized. Coming to the decentralized laboratories, what will happen once it got, that means when the authorities peoples are not going some in the old products, if they got some defects, they will go for the decentralized laboratories, and they will once again they will research it, what are the things have been taking place, once again what are the effects, what are the mistakes have been taking place in centralized, again they will go for the decentralized laboratories. Third, what is internal market? What are the things, that means internal market means within our organizations or within our internal market, what is their place in our there. So like who are the suppliers and who are the manufacturers, that means what sort of HR people are taking place, and who is the local market people, what are the things, all these things criteria and the work is taken in the internal market. Coming to the external market, that is R&D, we are having contract, collaborative, and consultant, and open market, open source. One more is there. In this, we are having a separate topic for external R&D. In our upcoming slide, we will have a look in that. Now we will go for the next term, that is acquisition of external technology. How the acquisition of external technology takes place, or the knowledge is taking place, is with the help of this matrix table. See, this is the acquisition of external technology or knowledge. This is a level of understanding of the technology by external third parties. See what's happening here: low, high, and high. Purchase an existing products or manufacturing process. That means what is happening when the purchase existing products or manufacturing process is good, then the product will be high and the risk is very low. Coming to the seek possible R&D strategic alliances, purchase license of a patient. That means here the understanding technology will be high, and as well as the knowledge is also be high. So here what will happen, the shaded area represent those technologies acquisitions normally embraced by technological transfer. This is the main thing. And what is happening, purchase know how embodied within the people and process, explore external R&D contract possibilities. What are the external R&D contract possibilities will be there, it will work on it. So here it will be high, the knowledge will be high, but the purchase will be high. That means technology will be high here. Coming to the conduct internal R&D, when in this matrix what will happen, we have to conduct when the product is going down here, so we have to conduct when the knowledge technology also less, when the knowledge is also less for the product in the market, we have to conduct the internal R&D. That is very important. So this is called the acquisition of internal technology. Coming to the forms of external, as we are discussing what we mean by external R&D, so we'll focus on it. So first one is the contract R&D will be there, R&D strategies, alliances, and joint ventures will be there, R&D consortium will be there. Contract will be there between two parties, or the third party will involve in it and they will work on it. And R&D strategies, alliances, and joint ventures, what are the third party people are coming, and what are the strategies, alliances they have to make, either they have to go for the joint ventures or acquisitions, the R&D department will take place. That means that the external forms where R&D will take place. Coming to the R&D consortia. What is my R&D consortia? Here is a small glance. Please have a look on this. Research and development consortia are formed by manufacturing companies, often with the support of government, for the purpose of conducting shared research on new technologies for the benefit of the consortium's members companies. Whoever the consortium members companies will be there, they will tie up with the government, and they will have that means they will form I conduct research with the help of the government, with the support of the government, and it will benefit the consultants members companies. So this consortium is a cluster of limited number of research projects, typically from 3 to 6, on a common, well-defined scientific area, sharing one common method like analytic methods, developments of common measures, and associating several teams. With the help of several teams, they will go, they will analyze it, they will identify any one method they will select, and they will develop a common measures to do this. All these things will be taking place in the R&D consortium. See here, this is the figure, a growing trend A here, and 200 to 300 in North America. That means North America and European countries, these people are targeting and focusing mostly on the R&D external, that means forms of external R&D. A special form of strategic alliances are there. This means, and First it will go to the university, we started the then it will go to the industry, and now the government is also involved. So what is happening, it will be supporting with the help of the industry and the government, whatever the area you are having, the external consortia is taking place. With the help of the university, it will be having the practice, the research will be taking place, the output is coming here in this place with the help of industry, university and government. So these are the university and industries, the sharing of ideas, sharing of research, applied research. Now coming to the open source of R&D. Why should everyone focus on open source R&D? The open source R&D is very important to our business. How? These are the four important points where R&D will help us. What are those? Have a look. The first one is it allows shared development and lowers R&D cost. It helps us accelerate product development and innovation, gives us strong influence on technologies used in product, give us ammunition in the ongoing talent war. See what is happening with the help of open source R&D. What is happening? We are having it. It is reducing the cost of the R&D. It helps in accelerating product development and innovation. What are the new innovations are coming? It is helping on it. It gives a strong influence on technologies used in product. What are the technologies is using for the manufacturing of the product? It is giving the influence. Strong influence is coming with the help of this, and it is building up the ammunition on the ongoing talent war. Talent war here in the sense in the market. In the market, whatever the new strategies are coming and by the competitor, it is also working. So these are nothing but uh, the this is one of the external, that means this is one of the forms of external R&D, open resource. Okay, so I hope students have understand the topic and confirm. With the help of this, complete our second unit. Please mention your attendance in the comment box, and if you have any kind of doubt, please give me your feedback on the comment box. Thank you. Have a nice day.